So, to all of you, I think I have to be perfectly honest with myself. For a few months now, I've had a girlfriend. Yeah. She's really close to my heart. She cares for me, and she's really cool. And today I want to reveal her to all of you. Give me a minute. She's a bit shy. So this is 2B. We got together, started playing. I started playing her game back in 2016, and ever since we just really hit it off. We started hanging out every now and then, and by 2021 with the quarantine, she was the only who was really there to support me. She was the only one that cared for me, and you know what? I love you, Toby, so much. You're the world to me. This was a grad gift, by the way, from a friend. And if you're watching, by the way, thank you for this still. Great mouse pad. But, oh god, that hurt my soul to do. Oh, that hurt my soul. Oh, that hurt my soul. Oh god, that really hurt. But, you know what? That form of behavior is more common than we realize. With the rise of anime and gaming, more and more people are falling for fictional characters at an increased rate. The behavior seems strange, I'm sure, and has been heavily memed on by the online community. These people are an easy punching bag online, but today I want to actually do something that's harder to do online, and I want to defend them and their choices, because there's a lot going on mentally, and there's a lot of things that go into attraction, and I think that after all of this, it's actually oddly reasonable why they would. And today I want to explore why from a psychological perspective with all of you. Welcome to PsyPop. In this series, we'll be tackling how pop culture, or something in pop culture, has displayed a phenomenon where we can learn from it in the context of psychology and mental health. If you like this series and don't want to miss out on future episodes, don't forget to show us support by liking and subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to click on the bell icon to get a notification whenever we post a new video. To keep our use of the terms consistent in mind, when we say 2D, we're talking about fictional characters that you can see on screen or read in books. These include, but are not limited to, anime and cartoon characters, VTubers, and video game characters. 3D, on the other hand, are people that you can see in real life, like myself, or literally any other actual living and breathing person. Actors, musicians, and your literal friends and family are under this category. Now, going back to the origins of high attractiveness, to determine why some would find a 2D character more attractive than a 3D one, and vice versa, we have to begin with the psychology of attractiveness. More specifically, the origins of why we find different characters attractive. This stems from different stimuli we are exposed to growing up, such as cultural learnings of what is beautiful. After all, what one person finds attractive is different from another person's perspective, and this is due to what they learned and experienced growing up, and I want you all to keep this in mind for later. Regardless of one's personality or background, there is a common process a person goes through. At first, a person may like a character for their physical appearance externally. Afterwards, their attraction to the character deepens upon learning further about the character's backstory, more of the internal. One thing that 2D characters have as an advantage over, well, you and myself, in this regard, however, are in their consistent hallmarks of high attractiveness. These are basically what we universally define an attractive person has or is, such as youthfulness, unblemished skin, symmetry, and both positive behaviors and expressions. For example, when it comes to the creation of 2D characters, aside from the fact that these characters' personalities and unique features are created with care to remain consistent and with the intention to be attractive, their appearances and creation usually follow a certain standard that people deem as attractive. An example of this standard would be Da Vinci's golden ratio, an unironic shout out to Animaniacs for this point right now actually. Throughout history, the ratio for length to width of rectangles of 1.618 has been considered the most pleasing to the eye aesthetically. This ratio was named the golden ratio by the Greeks. Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man fits this, for example, and throughout history, many art forms have used this ratio in the creation of their characters. Now, going back to normal people, a 3D person will realistically only have a few of these combined, and it is absolutely rare to find a 3D person with all of these traits combined. But what is guaranteed is that these traits will never last, because we're human. We age and we experience different emotional states all the time. This is surprisingly well researched. I don't know why. A 2D character will always be consistent. They will always be youthful. They will always stay consistent to character, and they will never hurt you, even if their writers can. Like, going back to the start of this video, you know, I really like 2B. She is actually unironically the closest thing I have to a waifu, if not a waifu. But the entire Nier franchise just hurts my soul. You watch her struggle throughout the game, and you start to care for her because you did, and then all in all, Yoko Taro just like crushes your heart. You know what? The quote Yoko Taro. I just really like girls, and he made me really like that girl. And this is a very weird tangent. You can drop this from the video. They just told me to spitball why I like 2B as an example in the script. It was really weird. If you watched our video about why you are a simp, which I recommend for you all to watch by the way, you might remember me mentioning the mere exposure effect. To sum it up, the mere exposure effect states that the more you are exposed to something you don't have a negative opinion on, the more you find yourself liking it. With this, you could say that a person's preference for 2D or 3D comes from whichever they are more exposed to positively. Someone who would consistently watch more anime would be more attracted to anime characters compared to someone who obsesses over boy bands, for example. In regards to external influences, environmental psychology also plays a role here. Environmental psychology is a subdiscipline of psychology where it analyzes the processes that occur between people and the environment they are exposed to. These environments may come in the form of schools, workplaces, or even in their own homes. Knowing the relationship between the person and their respective environment can be helpful in determining why they act or behave in a certain way. Remember, each environment has its own set of norms and social rules. Depending on the person's bravery and or lack of self-awareness, you can express your undoubtful love for fictional characters anywhere and anytime. This can be said with 3D characters such as actors, actresses, etc. But there's a specific place where everyone and anyone can express their love without any fear of judgment. This is what we call the internet. Online environments have presented various examples of how people have showed their love for a character, person, or even a couple, aka a ship. These may come in the form of fan art, fan fiction, fan songs, and even in cosplays. However, the intensity of one's love varies, of course, whether for the better or the worse. If you're curious about how far these feelings can go, you can check out any weeb cringe compilations, r/cringetopia, or our very own video on. So with all that said, what's the connection to a person's preference over 2D or 3D? Well, one of the main factors of influence is actually a person's environment. Depending on the people we hang out with the most, there's a high possibility that a person may be influenced into liking the same thing to similar degrees. The effect of influence may vary. It can either stay as a personal interest towards fictional characters or real people, or go as far as to the point they're willing to give huge sums of money just to get their attention or merchandise of a specific person or character. Can it go as far as making a religious shrine to a character? Very possible. What about marriage? In fact, there are some who have married to fictional characters. They're very interesting stories, and some which have been memed upon by the internet community, as we all know. Either way, there's nothing wrong with loving either 2D or 3D. Just make sure to have self-control over your love for them to avoid it from becoming self-destructive. I'm not sure why there's a wink wonk in the script here. Like, am I supposed to wink wonk or like wink wonk? I actually don't know the context of wink wonk. Someone explained that to me one day. So, with all that said, we've determined how attraction works, why some people would fall for 2D and 3D characters, but now, why would people choose 2D over 3D? Well, the study of fictosexuality, fictophilia, and fictoromance is still in its relative infancy, but based on a qualitative exploratory study conducted by Carhulati and Valisalo, some things can be inferred from the words of those who were interviewed or wrote to the researchers. My most recent relationship ended 9 months ago, and while I'm game for finding someone new in the future, I'm in no shape to do so right now. I'm figuring things out, and this is where Natsuki comes in. She's been a little spot of happiness just by being around. Cute fan art brightens my day, as do discussions of her character. Beyond that, she's had a positive impact on my attitude toward dating. This is a crush, not an actual relationship or part of my reality. To me, Natsuki is an ideal, a positive example of what I'm looking for. I've seen a few people here express shame over being attracted to one of the girls. Just because they're not in our reality doesn't mean your crush can't be good for you. In this example, you can see that the speaker views their fictional crush as a source of positivity. They are fully aware that the character is fictional and are accepting of it. But it, the character Natsuki, just to make it more clear, remains a strong source of support throughout their day. Carhulati and Valisalo further wrote that many people seem to like fictional characters for their idealized forms, the superior capacities and features associated with fictional characters. A number of people have also expressed that much of it can be attributed to the designers creating objects of love that are far better than real ones, while also expressing the fact that not being real also makes them feel rather safe. Real people often turn out to be worse than what I imagined them to be. That's why I don't bother much with real people and seek refuge in the ideal. I'm not completely shunning reality, nor denying it. I'm just unhappy with it. It's obvious that I'd fantasize sexually about it in private. You can get to know a fictional character intimately without the risk of being rejected. Now, the last point I will mention here, and if you want more, I strongly recommend reading the article. It's one of the most interesting articles we've read here personally in PsyPoints, I'd say, is how many people cite human nature as being naturally fascinated with such characteristics. It's only natural since we are a species that emphasizes and are able to feel fondness and love toward fictional characters because the stories are written so that we will feel things for the characters. If you watch a television series or read a book regularly, you'll grow a fondness for the characters, and that's only natural. It's not weird to feel attracted, even sexually, to a fictional character if this character isn't too young or an animal or something similar. It's completely normal to think that a certain personality or look is extremely attractive, especially since fictional characters are often created to look really perfect and be extremely cute/cool. Note that the latter quote presents an exceptional case in that a line is drawn regarding fictophilic feelings. It is apparently weird to like a character that is too young or an animal, but perfectly natural for one to like characters that are cute and/cool. So even though 2D beings can be fictional, we still have the common decency to follow rules to avoid the pedophilia or bestiality. So which is better, 2D or 3D? Does it even matter at all? Attraction is a very weird thing and very subjective in that regard as well. What some people are into, others are not, and that's completely fine. As long as you aren't hurting anyone, including yourself, aren't lying to yourself about it, letting it consume your life, and always keep in mind consent, then I think it's perfectly fine to be single or prefer 2D over 3D, despite all of the memes involved in that choice. Love is about feeling safe and comfortable after all. People and their emotions are complicated. They can be happy at one point, then sad the next, and mad at another instantaneous moment out of nowhere. That can be scary for some people to weave through. And most people who do struggle with people are normally bullied and made fun of for not knowing how to deal with others to begin with by real people. That is a vicious cycle. 2D characters are consistent and have no power or reason to hurt us. So can we really blame people for being attracted to them more? But yeah, those are just my personal thoughts on fictosexuality as a whole and other people's kinks and such. But by all means, please comment your own personal thoughts on the debate and comment any other topic that you'd like for us to tackle next. Please like and subscribe to the channel once again, and I hope you all have a great day ahead. Up, 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 up. Up, 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 up.